Okay, as we wait for the... So we're going to have the Uganda national anthem and then the East African anthem. So
O Uganda, may God uphold thee. We lay our future in thy hand. United, free, for liberty, together we always stand. Ee Mungu utulinde, uiya Afrika Mashariki, uongoeshe kuishi na amani, ilinde malinda yetu, jumuiya yetu tujilinde, tubadilike, tuimarishe umoja wetu, amani tuilinde umuhimu yetu.
okay, thank you. You can take your seats. So quickly, in our presence, we have very distinguished people here. But I would just want to recognize a few so that we can begin quickly. And then along the way, we are going to be able to introduce them at a deeper length. So we have our Honorable Rose Namayanja in Seriko. She is the director of Rose Namayanja Foundation. And in the House, of course, we have a number of young, energetic youth leaders who we will call honorable members of the Parliament today. They are the gist of why we are here today. So along the way, we'll be able to introduce that bit. Now, I want to go quickly to the first bit of the program so that we can have that session done. So I'm going to invite the team from Parliament who are going to then make a presentation, a very powerful presentation. We need this as young people for us to be able to understand how Parliament works, but also the nitty-gritty around legislation. So I would want to welcome the team from Parliament to take us through a session for about maybe 30 minutes or so. You're welcome.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are not very distinguished, as the presenter before me claimed. We are just colleagues at your service. My name is Nsimbe Kasim from the Department of Communication and Public Affairs at Parliament. I came with my colleague. Need to listen to female voice. Yes?
Good morning, everyone. I'm sorry I'm not well. My voice is not good. I have flu. I'm called Barbara Nabitaka. I also work with the Parliament of Uganda from the Communication and Public Affairs Department. Nice to be here. We thank God for our lives. Thank you, the youth, for participating in such activities. We look forward to see you in the nearby future also contributing towards the goal of our country. Thank you so much.
Colleagues, we have a short time for this presentation. I don't want to make it too long, but allow me to use this 1 second to recognize my boss, Honorable Namayanja. When Honorable Namayanja was joining Parliament, I think I was leaving school. So I covered her as a journalist at Parliament when she was a member of Parliament. So I applaud her for this. And please believe in yourself. You'll do more than what she has done, most probably. So we welcome you to Parliament. I'm told you'll be at Parliament on Friday. Before I go to the slides, I'm told you'll be at Parliament on Friday. Some of you, I'm told, the National Youth Parliament will sit at Parliament on Friday. But at Parliament, we are more serious than here. We shall need your mask from the time you get to the gate until you leave. As you speak on this microphone, you must have your mask on. Reason, if I have the disease and I'm using the microphone and I'm using this space, and you are the next person on the microphone, you'll definitely pick it. So you must have your mask on all the time. So you need to get used to it. When you get to the Chamber of Parliament, we shall require you to have your mask on throughout. So as soon as you arrive at Parliament Gate, till the time you leave, maybe you remove the mask to grab a cup of tea and that's it, and then it's back. It's for your protection and my protection as well. Is that okay? Sorry for delving into Friday before we get there. Briefly, the Department of Communication and Public Affairs is responsible for interacting with people like you and me, and we discuss matters related to Parliament, the National Assembly. We have a couple of slides that will be showed at the back of the room. So if you find time to divide between looking at the microphone and the board, no problem. The institution I'm talking about is only one, the Parliament of the Republic of Uganda. It's a creation of the Constitution. The Constitution of the Republic of Uganda is the one that sets up Parliament. But for a start, I'll go through a few slides that look at the legal basis of Parliament, the history of the Parliament of Uganda, the composition of the 11th Parliament. Our current Parliament is the 11th Parliament of Uganda. The lawmaking process, very briefly, I'll run through the lawmaking process. It's elaborate, but I'll give you just a sneak peek into what really takes place as Parliament makes laws. I think that's how far I will go. And then we shall have interaction if time allows. 1, 2, 3 questions, and I leave the platform. Is that okay? Next slide, please. So, the term Parliament itself, we derive it from that French verb, parler. For those of you who are students of French, you might even pronounce it better than me. It just means to speak. So when you come to Parliament, you come to Parliament to speak. You are going to use your mouth to speak. So whatever you're doing inside Parliament, that's what is expected of you. Speak, argue for and against, win colleagues to your side, and you have the day. The Parliament is a national representative body having supreme legislative powers within the state. You should know that the only arm of government that is responsible for lawmaking is Parliament. And it's the third arm of government. Next, please. Let's move faster. Okay, we move back to our, is that civics, SST? I think that is as far as SST, primary. The three arms of government. Those ones, you can just mention them on your fingers. The executive, headed by the president, the judiciary, headed by the chief justice, and then we have the legislature, that is parliament. Why is it called the legislature? It legislates, it makes laws. Okay, let's move. The Constitution, we talked of the legal basis of Parliament. This is a copy of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda. But me, I'm old school. I always carry the physical copy. But with your digital forms that I see spread all over, just look for Parliament of Uganda. Go through the scroll down menus, you'll see Constitution of the Republic of Uganda. Me, I'm old school, I carry the physical one, but you can use your phone. Article 77 says there shall be a Parliament of Uganda. So it's not someone's wish. It's a constitutional command. It says there shall be a Parliament of Uganda. And then 77.3 says the term of Parliament shall be 5 years from the date of its first sitting. So for those of you who were able to participate in the last general elections in January, you gave a mandate to members of Parliament to serve you for 5 years. Yes, at some stage, Parliament had gone ahead to amend the Constitution to push the term to 7 years. And it was struck down by a constitutional court ruling. So we are back to 5 years, as the Constitution states. So meaning, 5 years from January 2021, we shall have our next general elections. Okay? Yeah, let's push. Next slide, please. Okay, the role of Parliament is also explained very well in the Constitution. Parliament, under Article 79, has powers to make laws. Laws on what? On any matter for peace, order, development, and good governance of Uganda. You will ask, but then we see local governments also make laws. Those are called bylaws. That is delegated legislation by the local governments. Parliament also has the duty to protect the Constitution and promote democratic governance. So if you ever say you want to blame Parliament for not playing its role, that's its major role, making laws and also protecting the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda. Next, please. Okay, the 4 cardinal laws of Parliament. Next slide. Let's run through. If you ever want to say you are looking at what Parliament has done, look at its 4 major roles. Role number 1, legislation, making laws. Parliament will make laws on education, will make laws on agriculture, will make laws on taxation, will make laws on ICT, will make laws on traffic and road safety. That is Parliament, making laws. That's role number 1, legislation. Role number 2, let's move. Lady on the slide. Role number 1, legislation. Role number 2, appropriation. It's a big word, but we can break it down. Budget. Parliament is responsible for budgeting for this nation. Every sector, energy, education, gender, agriculture, ICT, health, defense, presents a budget to Parliament. The budget indicates the resources that they require to execute their mandate. Parliament is the institution that is mandated to approve those budgets. Look at the national budget as one big piece of cake, and everyone wants to walk away with the biggest piece. Agriculture will say we are the backbone of the economy. So why don't we have 90% of the resources voted for agriculture? But then we do have physical infrastructure, roads, bridges. Uganda Lero is also knocking on the door. They need resources. And for you, the youth, Your focus is on ICT. You want hotspots in every corner of your village. Defense says our borders are porous. And there's Al-Shabaab in Somalia, just across. We need resources to protect this nation. Now, Parliament is the one that plays the role of a financial arbiter. We have a cake that will not grow bigger than what it is. Our national treasury will not grow bigger in one day. So how do we share all the resources appropriately? It's a role that is played by Parliament. Budget approval, appropriation. And actually the law is clear that government cannot spend without approval of Parliament. And if there's ever any expenditure, government will have to report to Parliament, say because the budget had already been passed and there were emergencies, we needed to spend an additional 5% or 6% of the budget. They'll have to come and explain to Parliament. And then there are also circumstances where government requires additional budgets. Then Parliament approves supplementary budget. It's in addition to the national budget passed by Parliament in June. Okay, let's move. After appropriation, what happens? Oversight. Parliament approves resources, and after approval, they follow up the use of those resources. Parliament approved resources for education, were they used to construct the primary schools, the UPE schools, the classrooms that had been talked about by the ministry? Agriculture, did the farmers receive the support, the seedlings? If it's about works, the roads and bridges, were they constructed? That's where the Parliament Public Accounts Committee comes in for oversight. The Local Government Accounts Committee, the Committee on Commissions, Statutory Authorities and State Enterprises, COSASE, the Local Government Accounts Committee. You've heard of all these. What is their role? If Parliament gave you 1 shilling to construct a road, was the road ever constructed? If Parliament gave government 1 shilling for Emyoga, was that money used? Did the beneficiaries receive that money? That's where the oversight committees of Parliament come in. Those are roles played by members of Parliament. And then the committees report to the plenary of Parliament, and then Parliament will advise government. That's why some people say they fear coming before the Public Accounts Committee, because they misuse government resources. But if you didn't misuse the resources, then why not interface with the committee? So it's a role played by the institution of Parliament. Role number 4, after oversight, representation. What did your MP tell you when you were voting them into office? That I'm the best person to represent you, the youth. Isn't that it? Representation. The member you vote into office, into Parliament, goes to Parliament to represent you, to represent your views, to represent your voice. That is why you have different categories of members of Parliament. We shall go to it at some stage, because the views of the youth may be different from the views of the UPDF, may be different from the persons with disability, may be different from the workers, may be different from the elderly, may be different from the women. So all those are put into consideration. So when you go to the polls, you ask the member of Parliament, you share your mandate, because the member moves to Parliament with your mandate. You give up part of your mandate to the member to represent you. Because we are millions, all of us will not stand on the same, at the same microphone in Parliament to present our views. But at least we have collective views that we give to our member of Parliament to represent you in Parliament. So the 4 roles, cardinal roles: legislation, that is lawmaking; appropriation, that is budget; oversight, accountability, the Public Accounts Committee and the others; and then representation. Those are the 4 cardinal roles of Parliament. So if you ever carry out research on the effectiveness of Parliament, on what Parliament has done, there must be a yardstick. You not say this Parliament has not served us. Okay? What did you want them to do? Number one, make laws. Have they made laws that you need? Number two, budgets. Have they passed the budgets, approved the budgets that address your problems? Oversight. Has this Parliament followed up on resources, public resources that were sent to the different government entities? Number four, have they represented us? The four cardinal roles. Let's move. Other than the four cardinal roles, Parliament vets persons appointed as ministers, ambassadors. The president is mandated to appoint anyone a minister. Anyone amongst us can be appointed a minister. But then, the framers of this constitution were very clever. They said, yes, the president has the powers to appoint. But then after appointment, there is need for further screening, further scrutiny. That's where the Appointments Committee of Parliament comes in. The moment you are appointed a minister, you must face the committee. Let's move back, madam. Okay. Then they hold consultative meetings in their constituencies. Yes, because we said they are our representatives. So how do they get our views? They have to come back to us and hold consultative meetings, seek our views. How will the member know we have 7 broken bridges when he doesn't return to the constituency to discuss with us? Then they also mobilize their constituencies to support government programs. UPE, USE, MYOGA that we've been talking about. So all these are programs where a member can also mobilize the communities to participate. Maybe immunization, sometimes there is mass immunization. The current COVID jab, a member can play a role. Let's move. So those are cardinal roles that members of Parliament play. But please note that the member of Parliament can be invited to attend your graduation party and also make a contribution. Some other members of Parliament run scholarship funds. Other members of Parliament have SACCOs. These are personal projects by the member. The member will come to church and make a contribution and pay for the roofing of the church. This money does not come from Parliament, it comes from the member's salary. Parliament does not give the member 1 shilling to construct a road anywhere in the constituency. But your member will come to Parliament and lobby. The resources will be given to UNRA, Ministry of Works. The member will not be given 1 liter of fuel to drive a grader into your village. No. But he is a member of the community. If you've lost a relative and a member says, I'm supporting the funeral with the 1 million shillings, he's a member of that community. Okay? So those are roles that are not constitutional. But those are roles that a member will play as a member of the community. Okay, let's move through. Parliament through the years. The Parliament of Uganda did not start today. Many years back. I know many of you have run through, previous slide please. Many of you have run through how Uganda became a British protectorate. That's a history, which we can't deny. The Imperial British East African Company taking over Uganda in 1888. So let's run all the way up to the 1920s when the Legico was first established. And it had not a single Ugandan. It had several British members. That's the history of our parliament. That's how far we can trace legislation. But then other scholars can trace parliament to as far as the pre-colonial days, because every kingdom had some form of government. Every kingdom had some form of parliament. That's pre-colonial. So it depends on what you decide to take, but there are many avenues. But if we are looking at the current parliament, we can start with the 1920s, when the Legico is established. Then in 23rd March 1921, we had the first sitting of that parliament. In 1926, that's when the first Ugandans, but they were Asians, Ugandans who were originally Asians, they joined the Legico in 1926. Let's move on. And then in 1945, that's when the 3 indigenous Ugandans joined that parliament. Buganda had my economist Kawalia Kagwa, Bunyoro had Peter Nyangavachi, and Eastern Uganda had Yekonia Zirabamuzale. Those are the first 3. Then we ran all the way through the different parliaments. Let's move on. Let's move on, lady. Okay. 1961, pre-independence. I think we agree we had elections in 1962. 1961, we had our first direct elections to the Legico. DP wins, UPC comes in as the opposition. And then that new council met in April 1961. But there was another election in 1962. That's the independence election. And you see the figures. UPC now comes back with 37, DP 24, KY 21. Next slide. At independence in 1962, Dr. Apollo Milton Obote took oath as the first Prime Minister of independent Uganda. The president then was Sir Edward Mutesa. That is our first parliament after independence in 1962. So we've run from 1962 all the way to today. And today we celebrate 11 parliaments. So 50 years, 11 parliaments. What could have happened? Yes, that's the pigeonhole constitution. When you come to Parliament on Friday, you'll be able to get to the pigeonholes and see what a pigeonhole really means. Have you been to the post office? These are .com people. These are .com people. For us in the past, the past we were supposed to have a PO box and we had to take a letter to the post office. And you should be coming from a very lucky family to have a postal address. So you have to go to the post office. There's a small box where your mails, the mails are distributed to the different addresses. So it's the same at Parliament. Every member of Parliament has a pigeonhole. And in the pigeonhole, if there's any invitation for any event, that's where we store the documents for the member. So each member, by the time they came to that sitting of Parliament in 1967, there was a new constitution in their pigeonhole. And their role was to approve. Not discuss, but approve on the floor of Parliament. Okay, let's move. After 1966, what happens? First Parliament is lost in 1966. First Parliament is lost in 1966. Dr. Obote takes over as President of the Republic of Uganda. So the second Parliament now runs from 1967. It was supposed to last 5 years. What happens? Next slide, please. Before the 5 years elapsed, Field Marshal Idi Amin Dada overthrew the sitting government and became the President of the Republic of Uganda. And the first thing he did was to abolish Parliament. So there was no Parliament during that regime, but Parliament House existed. Get the difference? We had Parliament building, but with no members of Parliament. because Ugandans didn't participate in elections. But he didn't rule alone. He had several army officers around him, and he also had ministers. But we didn't have an elected parliament. So Field Marshal Idi Amin Dada becomes president of the Republic of Uganda. For how long? Let's move on. 71 to 79. Remember, all the previous parliaments had been programmed to last five years. But for 8 years, there was no parliament. Parliament was dissolved, and rule was by military decree. What happens in 1979? Idi Amin is also overthrown. Next slide, please. Idi Amin is overthrown. Those are famous images that you've seen everywhere. Let's move. Of Field Marshal Idi Amin Dada, with so many other titles, VCDSO, MCCBE, those ones we shall discuss at another forum. But for today, we are just running through our history. Okay, let's move. Idi Amin is overthrown. In 1979, we have a new parliament. That's the third parliament of Uganda, called the National Consultative Council. And you've heard of Professor Wakiso ever being president. Yes, he was president of Uganda. Some time back, before many of you were born, but he was president of Uganda for one of the shortest periods, 68 days. But our history recorded him as having served as president of the Republic of Uganda. After 68 days, what happens? Next slide. Another president. Godfrey Lukongwa Binaisa, president for 11 months. No one is lasting the 5 years. Remember, we talked of the 5 years? 68 days. Then Godfrey Lukongwa Binaisa pushes it a bit further, 11 months. After 11 months, what happens? Slide, please. The Military Commission. The 3 people in the seat of president. Have you heard of that before? Oh, Uganda has ever had a military commission and a presidential commission. And the seat of president was occupied by a tripartite. And I think the last of the 3 passed on 4 years ago. About 4 years ago. Next slide, please. About 4 years ago. That was a transition. The 3 had Hunter Wachaolol, Saul Musoke, and Polycarp Nyamuchocho. One of the 3 passed on just during this generation, about 4 years ago. The 3 occupied the seat of president from May to December 1980, before the famous elections of 1980. That changed our history. Let's move on. So in 1980, we had another set of elections, and this was the 4th Parliament of Uganda. Dr. Paul Milton Obote bounces back as president. That's now Obote II. He was president from 1980, December 10th. And we thought the plan was for him to last 5 years till December 1985. But in July 1985, he lost that seat. Let's move. That was the 4th Parliament of Uganda. General Tito Okello Lutwa now becomes the leader of Uganda from July 85 to January 1986, a short period. When do we have another parliament coming in? Next slide. January 1986. That's when we do have a new government. The faces, I think some of them you can recognize. Others, you need to get closer to the screen. The NRA takes over Kampala in January 1986. And then a new government of the Republic of Uganda is sworn in. That photo, I think, that was the President of the Republic of Uganda, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, and he was receiving the instruments of power. Next slide, please. That was 1986 at Parliament. That's the entrance you'll use tomorrow. That was the oath of president that the chair of the NRC took at that time. And that also marked the start of the 5th Parliament, the National Resistance Council. Honorable, I think you joined in that one. No, you joined after that one. Yes. You joined after that one. NRC started small, expanded 270, but NRC was responsible for this constitution. The NRC was responsible for this constitution. This is their product. So whatever you are doing now is to amend the 1995 constitution. Those are the Ugandans, the distinguished Ugandans that returned Uganda to the rule of law and constitutionalism. So today, even if you go to court, you refer to the Constitution. What does the Constitution say? But who are the framers of the Constitution? So remember the transition? At one time, you have Parliament in abeyance, and then no government is lasting 5 years. So they had gone through all these experiences. So they sat down, and in this Constitution, provided specific roles to Parliament, specific roles to the judiciary, specific roles to the executive. So today, no one can dissolve Parliament. Actually, Parliament is dissolved at the election of another Parliament. When a new Parliament is sworn in, that's when the previous Parliament gets dissolved. Let's move. I think I have about 10 minutes to go. Okay, that's the run through 1988 until 1995, when this current constitution was promulgated. Let's move. So since 1995, with the introduction of a new parliament, now we had a return to real elections. So every 5 years, we must have elections. That's what the constitution says. So the 6th parliament lasts from 1996. 5 years later, in 2001, we have the 7th parliament. The slides show you the speakers. The 6th parliament had 2, Honorable James Wapablo, Right Honorable Francis Ayume. Then in the 7th parliament, we had Right Honorable Edward Sekandi, that's 2001. 5 years later, in 2006, we have a new parliament, and that's the return to multi-party politics. The first multi-party parliament comes in 2006. The speaker then was Right Honorable Edward Chiwanuka Sekandi, the former vice president. Let's move. 2006, after 5 years, 2011, we have a new parliament. That's the 9th parliament. That was the speaker, Right Honorable Kadaga, in the 9th parliament. 10th parliament in 2016, the speaker is Right Honorable Kadaga, and the deputy Right Honorable Jacob Olanya. Then 2021, just January this year, we had elections. Elections for the 11th parliament. The speaker of the 11th parliament is Right Honorable Jacob Olanya, and the deputy speaker, Right Honorable Anita Among. 5 years from 2021, I'm putting your notice, we shall have a new parliament, because the constitution says every 5 years we must have an election. Maybe if you are not one now, 5 years from today, please, we shall welcome you to the steps of parliament to take your oath as a member of the 12th parliament. But at least you have our history. Okay, let's move. That's how far we've been. That's where we are today. In the few remaining minutes, what do we cover? He's the speaker of the 11th parliament. I think you've met him before, or you've seen him on TV. Right Honorable Jacob Olanya. You'll meet him on Friday if you make it to Parliament. And then the Deputy Speaker in the next slide is Right Honorable Anita Among. Those are the two principles at Parliament. And the framers of this constitution made it clear that Parliament will be chaired by only two. In this country, there are only two who can chair Parliament. It's either the Speaker or the Deputy Speaker. The Chief Justice was given an opportunity to chair Parliament once every 5 years. The Chief Justice chairs the first sitting of Parliament after an election. Because the first sitting of Parliament after an election, we don't have a Speaker. We have only members of Parliament. So the Chief Justice, who now comes from another arm of government, presides over the first sitting of Parliament, and the role of the Chief Justice is to preside over the election of the Speaker. And once that is done, the Chief Justice retires from the Chamber of Parliament. So it's provided for constitutionally once every 5 years. I think some of you saw that event in Colorado. It was in Colorado ceremonial grounds. Yes, the Chief Justice was the Speaker for the day. But his role is to ensure that there are elections for a Speaker, because the laws that govern Parliament say for you to become a Speaker of Parliament, you must first be elected as a member of Parliament. So you take oath of member of Parliament, then you qualify to stand for election as Speaker or Deputy Speaker of Parliament. Next slide, please. That's our current composition. It's a small number, 556 members of Parliament, representing how many millions of Ugandans? Broken down with 353 constituencies. I think each of you comes from a constituency. There are 353 constituencies, 130 districts of Uganda as of today. And the Constitution says every district of Uganda must be represented by a district woman representative. So the bigger the number of districts, the moment a new district is created, it becomes automatic that there must be election for a district woman representative. City councils, there are so many cities that were created. They have 10 representatives, women. Then the National Army, the UPDF, 10 representatives. In the past, the army claimed they were not involved in politics and the civilians were mismanaging. But today, we have 10 UPDF officers. So the agenda for the army, the views for the army are presented on the floor of Parliament. Your representatives, the youth, there are 5 youth representatives. Persons with disabilities, they have 5. Workers have 5. Then the new category, representatives of older persons. Yes, it was a big lobby group. They said, our views are not represented. They said, but there are people who are 70 plus who sit in Parliament. They said, yes, but they don't represent this constituency. Then the last group are the ex-official members of Parliament. There are 27. Who are the ex-official members of Parliament? Persons appointed by the President as ministers, but they don't hold a constituency. Take an example of the Minister for Education. What's her constituency now? She once served as Member of Parliament for Ruhama, but now she's in Parliament as an ex-official Member of Parliament. The Attorney General, Chiriowa Chiwonoka, Honorable. What is his constituency? So that number totals 27. Once they take oath as ministers, they automatically have to take oath as members of Parliament, serving as ex-official members of Parliament. They have all the powers in Parliament, except one thing: they don't vote. If there is a deciding vote, those ex-official members of Parliament don't vote, but they are fully fledged members of Parliament. So today, we stand at 556 members of Parliament. Next slide, please. Okay, as I wind up, that is our parliament now. The parliament administration has a parliamentary commission. That parliamentary commission, chaired by the speaker, has a deputy speaker, the leader of government business, leader of opposition, the minister for finance, 4 backbench members, and the clerk to parliament. Those are the ones that govern the institution of parliament. They handle the administration of parliament. But also, they are political heads, but they also have a technical team where myself and Barbara Nabitaka and about 500 others, staff of parliament, we are not politicians. No, we are handled by the public service to provide technical service to the members of parliament. And we are responsible to the members of parliament and to the commission, because the Parliamentary Commission is the one that employs the staff of parliament. So when you come to parliament, you'll find 2 categories of people. Those that you voted for, and then those are technical, the ones that provide you technical support. When you come to the House, you'll see experts in ICT, you'll find experts in research. For us, our expertise is in public relations and media. That's our department. There's the Department of Human Resource, then we do have accountants, all categories of people. You'll find them at parliament. So you'll find the technical and then the political arm. Okay. The next slide. Next, please. So those are the 2, the political and the technical. How does parliament work? That's my final slide. Parliament works mostly through committees. We have a plenary, that house where you see all members of parliament seated. But then most of the work is done in the kitchen, the committees of parliament. We have sectoral committees, we have standing committees, we have select and ad hoc committees. There's a committee on every sector. There's a committee on education, another one on agriculture. Next slide. ICT, all those do happen. But then all those committees work on behalf of plenary. So they carry out research, they'll interview officers from government ministries, but all of them report back to the plenary of parliament, because that is where decisions of parliament are made. A committee will present a report, the report will be tabled in parliament, debate will ensue, and then recommendations by members of parliament are done on the floor of parliament. Okay, thank you so much. We are going to give you flyers for the process. I think we have the process of a bill, because parliament makes laws, but how are the laws made? I had about 50 slides. I can't run through all of them because of time. But then we are going to give you additional information. When you look at the screen, the Prime Minister is a very important person in Parliament. The Prime Minister is the leader of government business. And when you come to Parliament on Friday, you'll find 2 sides of the House. When you belong to the right, that's the party in government. And who leads the party in government in Parliament? The Prime Minister. All the ministers fall under the Prime Minister. So she's the leader of government business in the House. And then when you cross to the left, next slide. Next. Because to the right, you have the leader of government business, who is the Prime Minister. And then to the left, you have the leader of the opposition. Who is the leader of the opposition? Honorable Matthias Mpuga, the one you see on screen. So those 2, Honorable Nabanja will lead the government side, Honorable Mpuga will lead the opposition side. But they also have whips. The whips also help them to effectively execute their duties. Thank you so much. Just move to the very last slide. Wherever there's a sitting of Parliament, it's accessible. On YouTube, we stream our sittings. So even if you're not in Parliament, our Twitter handle is very active at Parliament_UG. Facebook is currently still off. Our website is very active. Any questions about Parliament? Please, we can interact anytime. We have an active website, we have an active Twitter handle. Visits to Parliament for now are restricted. Actually, they are banned because of COVID. But in future, we shall organize to have activities at Parliament, interactive sessions with you, because the time we have here is shorter. Thank you so much. Back to the moderator. Barbara has a lot to give out to the team here. Okay, questions? 2, 3. If there's any, but not very tough ones. 2,
Okay.
3, if there's any, and then the rest we shall interact. If there's none for now, we can reserve it for our next session. We are going to give out you materials about Parliament, free of charge. Yes, I think everyone will get a diary where you write your important things, and then an open abat for soft drinks.
Thank you.
Then we do have a lot of history about Parliament. The lawmaking process that I have not been able to handle, you'll have it at your disposal, at your desk after this session. Thank you so much.
So thank you. Do we have any questions from the audience? We will also take maybe 2 from the online participants. I needed to let you know that we have a number of them online. So the technical team will guide us if there are any who are raising their hands. But 1 question from online. As you prepare, any other question? Thank you. Okay, go ahead. We are not able to hear you. Kindly be audible.
Am I being heard now?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Priska Akelowang. I wanted to ask what is the use of Parliament Watch? I want more information because I see it around, but I think their relevance or their impact, we are not feeling it. So I need to know what is the use of Parliament Watch.
Okay, thank you, Jessica. Do we have any other? We'll take about 3 and allow. From here, do we have any other question? Yes, please. Walk to the front. Yes.
I'm Sanjay Haruna from Justice Forum as a national chairperson. For me, my question is just about the gate. I'm seeing a number of demarcations about maybe the heritage. What's the essence of that?
Okay, that's about the gate. Anybody else? One more?
My name is Sans Francis, Chief of Staff, Uganda People's Congress. My question is with all the numbers of the MP that we have, 500 something, how is it possible for them to have an effective contribution and participation in the parliament? Thank you.
So I think we will take those for now. Maybe we get a few responses and then we continue.
We had originally agreed that we don't ask very tough questions. And unfortunately, tough ones have come through. The lady online, Beatrice, asked about Parliament Watch. Parliament Watch is not a department of Parliament. Parliament Watch is a non-government organization. And its role is to scrutinize what Parliament does. It's a watchdog organization. But their focus is on what Parliament does. They follow what the committees of Parliament do. They follow what happens in the plenary of Parliament. But it's not a department of Parliament. Then Ndugu Haruna asked about Parliament Gate. Yes, I was not able to screen Parliament Gate here, but it has rich history. When you come to Parliament on Friday, find a minute or two to have a look at that Parliament Gate. It's not just these ordinary gates of ours. No. It has emblems of all the kingdoms of Uganda that came together to form the current Uganda. Okay? Every kingdom that signed to become part of Uganda has its emblem pinned onto Parliament Gate. Those emblems were fabricated. They are engraved onto the gate of Parliament. So the gate itself has its own rich history. It's not just for closing and opening Parliament. No, they are significant items. Then my sister from UPC claims the numbers are very big. They are not very big. But anyway, let me answer your question. How can they be effective? Yes, participation. Every member of Parliament has an opportunity to participate. How? Different committees of Parliament. The members are 500. But the Speaker will ensure that each of them is assigned to a committee of Parliament. The committees are smaller groups. 40 members of Parliament, 30 members of Parliament. Those committees will report to the main plenary. So the member has an opportunity to have their voice heard. The member has an opportunity to actively participate in those committees. These are smaller groups. But also, at the start of each sitting of Parliament, the Speaker provides for time for members to present matters of national importance. Yes, the 3 minutes are a training for you. By the way, I need to warn you, when you come to Parliament on Friday, no one is going to give you 20 minutes. You have to learn to speak and make sense in a short time. What you cannot say in 3 minutes, you will not say in 20 minutes. That's why in Parliament, there are regulations, 3 minutes, and these days it's automatic. Once the Speaker says, honorable members, 3 minutes, at the end of 3 minutes, no one will come to pull the microphone away from you. No, it will just get off, no power. So whatever you will say, you will not be recorded on the Hansard. And then 2, you will have abused your privileges in Parliament by speaking at a time when you're not allowed to speak. So if the Speaker says 3 minutes, run through. Don't thank the previous Speaker and the House at large and the people at home watching on TV. No, there's no time. Move straight to the topic and discuss. You are lucky, you are even undergoing training. The challenge we do have in Parliament is that there is no school for training a member of Parliament. You learn on the job. So you are learning already. So maybe by the time you become members of Parliament, you'll be able to make sense in 3 minutes. You speak in 3 minutes and the audience comes to your side. So don't wait for written speeches for 30 minutes, 1 hour. So every member will have their time to speak on the floor of Parliament.
And the speaker provides them that opportunity. And when it is a maiden speech is not interrupted. The member will be given there 3 minutes. And then every member represents a different constituency. What happens in this constituency will not necessarily be the same in Mukono, will not be the same in Masaka. So if a member from Masaka says, Right Honorable Speaker, we need government to intervene. We've lost so many lives in Masaka mysteriously. The speaker gives them an opportunity. The member from Luwero might not be talking about the same problem in Masaka. The member from Mbale, Bududa, Sironko, will not be addressing the same problem. So each member is given an opportunity to present their matter of national importance at each sitting of Parliament. So every member will have an opportunity, Madam. Thank you so much, colleagues.
All right, thank you very much. The team from Parliament, would you want to have a word? Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your attention. As my colleague Kasim said, that we come from the Department of Media and Public Relations. We always have information, so we are open to you daily. You can call us, you can use the channels which Kasim has told you, and we always have publications which you can read, and you get to know what is happening in Parliament. You're going to wonder why we still have diaries, calendars. We always have these things now, like we always have the youth in the month of August. The activities always take place in the month of August. So we can't say that because they are for August, we won't give them. That's why we bring these things, we keep them for you. So don't say that, now we are getting a calendar in September. Those things were meant for you because you are entitled to get these things. So that's why we have all these publications. What we will try to do, don't just do our things without any theme. So whatever you pick there has a reason as to why we have it, and then it has the information about Parliament. So please accept those things, read them. Apparently, even we go further of even putting them in our local languages. When we talked about Wakiso, we brought in some information in Uganda. When we went to Gulu, we took the language for Gulu. When we went to Mbale, we did that. So that is how far we go, so that we make people understand exactly what is happening. There is nothing wrong to learn things in your language, then you come and do it in another language. Thank you so much. Your leaders will give them out later, because we don't have time to give to each one of you. And those who will come on Friday, they will still get certain things from Parliament. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We are going to receive these officially on your behalf and then distribute them later. So I'm going to allow Edna, on behalf of partners, to receive them as we proceed. Okay, as that is taking place, we're going to go into the next bit of the program. But before we go into that, I would again want to thank the Parliament staff. Now, if there is any other question that you would want them to take home, please, before they leave, kindly approach them. But we also have a function on Friday, so you can log in online, and we'll be able to respond to some of those through the team. Now, at this very moment, I would want us to go into some of the main things. But before that, it will be imperative for us to know each other. So we have very limited time, but kindly, we're going to move around. We're going to move the mic around. Stand up, introduce yourself, where you're from, and perhaps what position of leadership you run. Just the three, so that we can manage this within 5 minutes around the room. Let's get to know each other quickly, okay? So I think I will start from my right.
Praise God. My name is Reverend Sans Francis, Chief of Staff, Uganda People's Congress, UPC. I'm from Budo, Wakiso. Thank you.
Good morning, Honorable Member. I'm Karono Michelle Caro, Secretary, Female Youth Affairs, Mitiana District Youth Council.
I'm Lukanga Samuel from Semto Nakaseke District.
I'm Busura Samuel, Youth Leader, Lugazi Municipality.
It doesn't work.
It's online. Okay. You can continue. It's online.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lameka Matsuko. I come from Sembabule. I'm a member of the District Youth Council and the President of Uganda Young Patriotic Movement. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I am Tayin Helen. I'm from the Democratic Party as the Deputy National Youth Leader.
Good morning, everyone. Msisima Mugaro is my name. I'm from Gomba. I'm a youth leader from Gomba, as well as Secretary General Uganda Young Patriotic Movement.
Good morning to all. By the names, I'm Senksu Nixon. I am Chairperson, Youth, Kayunga District, and I work with Uganet as a community paralegal.
My name is Juliet Nabukenya, Secretary for Female Affairs, Nakasongola District.
God is good and all the time. My name is Selgo Sadat Insegumile. I'm an NRM Youth Chairperson, Kampala Central, and then a youth councillor, Kampala Central. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Musoke Solomon, the current chairperson of the Interparty Youth Platform. Thank you.
Good morning, members. I'm Nandija Betty from Ruelo and a member of IOP.
Good morning, comrades. I'm Sanji Haruna Chua, and I'm the National Chairperson, Justice Forum, JEMA.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Patience Ponia Ikoru. I'm a student leader. I'm a final year student at Uganda Christian University, and I'm the guild speaker.
A very good morning to you all. My name is Julia Muhumuza, a student leader at Mackay University Business School, and also an aspirant at Uganda National Students Association.
Good morning to you all. I'm Siema Atkunda, Secretary, Female Affairs, Mwende District, and an aspirant at Uganda National Student Association.
My name is Kajumi Frank Sibala, Chairperson, District Youth Council, Kalungu District.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Luwama Alex, a youth leader from Mukono District. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm called Joseph Tuliahewa, Finance Secretary, Bukwe District.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is David Mujema. I'm a university leader at Kampala International University School of Health Sciences. Same time, Finance Secretary, Masaka City at the National Youth Council.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Howard Mwesigwa. I'm the SDG Global Youth Ambassador for Uganda, and I'll be aspiring for National Speaker of the Youth Parliament on Friday. Thank you so much.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nancha Zebia Catherine from Luwero District. I'm a youth leader.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Enoch Kamanzi. Okay. Good morning once again. My name is Enoch Kamanzi. I'm the Secretary General of Mubende District Youth Council and also the President of Youth Transformation Agenda. Thank you.
Good morning to you, friends. My name is Naiga Shubra Kasozi. I'm graduating law school from Uganda Christian University. I'm also intending to be the Speaker of the Central Youth Parliament. I am equally the founder and leader of Students Against COVID and a youth leader. Thank you.
Good morning, dear leaders. I'm Amina Hassan.
a youth leader, Royal District.
Good morning to you all. I'm Kamia Fred, a youth leader from Ruel. I've been serving the youth of Ruel for 2 terms, and I'm intending to be your clerk for this parliament. Thank you.
Good morning, members. My name is Chomhanji Elena Sarah. I'm the Secretary for Youth Affairs, Kampala District, NYC.
Good morning, members. I'm Filipo Mutiara Semakula from Uganda Federal Alliance, National Secretary Youth, and a member of IOP.
All right, thank you very much for those who have introduced. You have noticed that I've skipped a few people because of their special introduction. I want to take this opportunity to recognize the presence of our partners. Faraja Africa will be speaking shortly. We also have the Rose Namayanja Foundation staff and director who will be speaking. We do have our honorable youth member of parliament who will be speaking. We have a representative from UNSA and from NYC. So this is a real powerful event for you young people. And so at this juncture, to cut time, I'm going to invite the host organization. We are partly responsible for convening the central region.
Point of correction. We don't have a representative from the Youth Council. We have a National Youth Council chairperson.
I'm not yet the speaker, but that is taken note of. Those introductions will go around as well. Thank you very much for that. So at this juncture, I'd want to invite our very honorable Rose Namayanja Nsereko. She is representing us in terms of executive direction for the Rose Namayanja Foundation, one of the conveners for the Central Region Youth Parliament, but also one of the partners that will be doing the National Youth Parliament on Friday. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Julius. Good morning, everyone. The Member of Parliament representing Central Region, Honorable Chilabo Agnes, the Chairman LOC 5 of Rengo District, Mr. Chitata Ibrahim, who is online and with us, the Chairman of the National Youth Council, Mr. Eyelu Jacob, you're most welcome, and the partner organizations that we are working with. I want also to recognize Mr. Joseph Munyangabo from the Westminster Foundation for Democracy. I want to welcome everybody. Most importantly, I want to thank Parliament of Uganda for being here with us. I want to welcome the leaders of the National Youth Council, leaders of UNSA, leaders of civil society organizations, leaders of political parties, youth leagues, and everyone who is here with us and online. First of all, allow me thank the Platform for Youth Inclusion in Politics, Youth Inclusion in Politics, PIP, for coordinating this and ensuring that space is provided for young people to have a quasi-legislative space where we can learn the basics of, it's not actually about the legislative processes and only, but also our history. And to this end, I want to thank Parliament. You have been partners of the Youth Parliament, even before we went into regional dynamics as a result of COVID, but you have come out to share with young people about what Parliament does and how they can participate in a number of activities that Parliament is undertaking. The Rose Namanja Foundation is hosting this event here for the Central Region Youth Parliament and has been part of the other, I think 2 other parliaments, youth parliaments that we have had. Rose Namanja Foundation is, I am the director and founder of the same, and it is inspired by my life's experience, and whatever we do rotates around that which has enabled me to reach this far. What we do, we engage in a number of issues. In education, in the education space, we do provide support to a number of young, but bright but underprivileged students that we support, because I was also one of them. And we do support women in the socio-economic front who are doing work in various enterprises. We do also support on the health front, but specifically for this one, we participate in leadership and governance, because that is also what has made me who I am. I used to say that for what I am and what I will be, I owe it to youth leadership. Where I have reached, I now say that for what I have been, what I am, and what I will ever be, I owe it to the time that I was a youth leader. So practically, that's the reason why the Rose Namanja Foundation is engaged in this space. That you can come from Youth Council 1, for instance, as somebody who has been a chairperson of a village youth council, to a member of parliament. The other time I was speaking to the Central Region NYC session, and I said I served in parliament for 15 uninterrupted years. But you know, right from village youth council, first of all, allow me just give you my background and then we can take it from there. I was a student leader from Makerere University. I was a student leader in Wunsa. I was a chairperson of a village youth council, a parish youth council. I was a councillor at the sub-county. I was a chairperson of a district youth council in Luwero. I was a youth MP for Central Region. I was a youth MP a woman MP for Nakaseke. I was a Minister of State for Luwero Triangle. I was a Minister of Information and National Guidance. I have recently been the National Treasurer of the National Resistance Movement, and I'm currently the Deputy Secretary General of the National Resistance Movement. And all that has been able because of the time, how I utilized the space I had between the ages of 18 and 30. So I want to thank the partners really for providing this space for the young people in the various areas that you come from. Faraja Africa Foundation has been leading us, and Action Aid, who are also online with us, and they are supporting us in this event, and the various organizations that we are working with. So mine is to say, one, yes, I am the Deputy Secretary General of NRM, and therefore a politician at that. But the Rose Namanja Foundation is a registered non-government organization, non-partisan and non-political. And we want to advance the interest of the young people, regardless of their political persuasions. So, and I am so glad that we are here with young people from UPC, from DP, from JEMA, from NRM, and the youth councils and other youth organizations, civil society organizations. And for me, when I'm talking about this, I just want to tell you as young people that the space you are in is transitional. Today you are a young person, tomorrow you will not be. So regardless of your party affiliations, the most important thing is that you must do self-development. If you are in JEMA, if you are in NRM, if you are in UPs, because first and foremost, this is a youth parliament. It's a political, a gathering of politicians, if I may. And if you want to be the politicians of, these days we no longer say that the youth are leaders of tomorrow. Today, you're already leaders and you aspire to be. When I heard Mr. Nsimbe give the background of Parliament, we are into a knowledge society now. Information is out there about everything. How did I decide, for instance, for me to join Parliament? At that time, we didn't even have this information as available as it is. But we went out to look for it. What I didn't tell you that I'm also a founder member of the Uganda Young Democrats. It's during that period of the Uganda Young Democrats that we actually used to move by foot from Makerere University to go in the Strangers Gallery and attend the Constituent Assembly in the Strangers Gallery. And while there, we used to look at people, first of all, those that we have been seeing on TV, but are now looking at them physically. And then I used to see young people, the youth MPs, the CA delegates who are representing youth. And when I saw them, I was like, okay, young people has space here in the CA. But I knew the CA was also temporary, so I was looking at Parliament. And then I saw women, the likes of Dr. Speciosa, the likes of Honorable Matembe, the likes of Honorable Winnie Byanyima, the likes of Honorable Cecilia Ogwal. I see them speak and I'm like, okay, women also have space here. So for me, that's how I picked interest. I took a decision in my second year at the university that this is where I want to be. And I've never looked back. And because of that, there's one staff at Parliament. She was working in the reception department. And whenever we would go at the CA delegates, it was at the conference center at Selena now, she would give us a paper. They register you and give you a paper for you to be allowed into the Strangers Gallery. So this lady used to give me that paper every time I would go. And when the CA ended and the new constitution was promulgated, I started going to the 6th Parliament. And I'm glad Mr. Nsimbe has given the chronology of our parliaments. So I used to go to the Stranger, and the same lady was giving me the paper, and of course others. And lo and behold, on the 4th of July, 2001, I no longer required that paper. Because whenever, and you'll go, those of you who will be there tomorrow, but many of you have been there. Those who will be there on Friday. There's that notice. Unauthorized persons are not allowed into the chambers. So somebody who used to go in the Strangers Gallery was now fully authorized and a duly sworn-in member of Parliament for Youth Central Region. So when you interact with this information that Parliament has given you here, take time to watch when Parliament is in session. And if they open up and you can go to the Strangers Gallery, please go, and because I know I'm talking to politicians, and associate and learn from these people. There are people who inspired us even when they didn't know that they were inspiring us. By just looking at the way somebody debates. These days you can say that when I grow up, I want to be like Kim Olha. So I want to encourage you to interact with that information. Know the history of Uganda. It is very, very important. I'm a lawyer, but in law they say If you have not researched, you have no authority to even speak. So learn about, regardless of the political party that you are in, regardless of the university you are from, regardless of the youth council, district youth council you are from, or whatever, it's important that you speak from an informed point of view. So read about the history of our country. Why is this called the 11th Parliament? Some people just say 10th Parliament. Is this 9th? Is this 7th? Is 11th Parliament? I'm glad they have taken us through. The youth of Central Region, take time to read about the issues that affect our region. Read about the land question in Uganda, and Buganda in particular. I was interacting with a lecturer, a young person, of course above 30, but still young. She was teaching at Arapai Agricultural College. This was somebody teaching students at tertiary level and an agricultural college, but that this lady had never heard of the word absentee landlords and lost counties. You get it? And many of you here, when somebody says absentee landlords, when somebody says lost counties, these are issues that affect this region particularly. Have you taken time to read and understand? Because all this information, even what Mr. Kasim has talked about, is all online. So it's very, very important that you get informed. And we shall continue engaging with the other partners to create these spaces, even online, even if we don't come together, but we have time to have different people. And by the way, they don't need to even say that whether you have data or whatever, you can look for that data and have a session just to talk about where we have come from, where we are, and where we want to go. And having different politicians from different political shades to talk to young people and you understand the history of our country. So I want to say that in this session, on the order paper, there are a number of issues that they will take us through, but the most important thing why we also wanted to participate or why we are into this is the impact of COVID really on the education sector. Many of our students don't even know the classes they now belong to because of what we have gone through. And then the impact of COVID on youth enterprises, but most importantly, the digital divide that we have in the country and even globally. COVID is, with all its negative implications, it has also created a digital revolution. So the question is, as a young person, are you part of this revolution? Out of the 10 richest people in the world, I think like 7 or 8 are in IT, in the IT sector. So that's the way to go. The other time I was listening in when Honorable Okot Boniface, the youth MP for Northern Uganda, was speaking, and he put it so well for me. He said, he quoted Franz Fanon, that every generation must identify its mission, fulfill it, or betray it. Our generation, when we were in youth leadership, ours was actually youth participation on the decision-making table. Do we have young people participate in parliament? Do we have young people participate in the local councils? Do we have young people in cabinet? Do we have young people in our political parties, committees and everything? For us, that's what we were fighting for. We were like, we want young people to be included. We want young people. And when you talk about young people, by the way, even if you are between 18 and 30 for the youth councils, your work goes beyond that age group, because a youth of 31, 32 up to 35 is still a young person. the policies that you come up with affect them directly. So our mission as a generation was to have young people on the decision-making table. And when I heard a quote, Honorable Court, he was saying the mission of the generation, of your generation now, is socio-economic, is economic inclusion. Political participation, but now we don't need to talk about the quality, the quantity itself, but the quality of your participation. In your political party, when you stand up to speak for the Youth League or for the position you hold, what's the quality of your debate? In the Youth Council, what's the quality of your debate? If you're a councillor in the district local government council, what's the quality of your debate? So this time around, it's the quality, but also economic inclusion and harnessing the digital dynamics. So I want to thank you so much for participating, those who are here and those online, and then to thank also the youth leaders at national level who are here with us. Allow me to introduce some of our staff. We have Mr. Lindo Dennis, he's the team leader for the Rose Namanja Foundation. We have Mr. Chitala Julius, he's also a member. We have Ms. Judy Nanzili Murwana, and we have Ms. Nasasira Hilda, she's also a staff, and a number of others. So I thank you so much, and I welcome you once again.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Rose Namayanja. I think we are very proud of having somebody who has been like us through the ranks, and the story is really good and can resonate with a number of us here. Now, just to remind you, we will be having other speeches come through, but for the benefit also of those online, just to let you know, we still have a few people here we did introduce, and I would want to reiterate. We have Mr. Jacob Eyeru from the National Youth Council. I'm not sure if everybody knows him, but Jacob, please. He is the president of the National Youth Council. We possibly have somebody online from UNSA. We have Mr. Joseph Munyangabo, one of our key partners in this very event. He's from WFD, that's the Westminster Foundation. So at this juncture, I would want to find out from the technical team if we have Mr. Ibrahim Chitata, the LC5 chairman of Luengo, so that we can have him in. Sir, you're welcome. Okay, as we try to get hold of Mr. Ibrahim Chitata, just for time management, I think we will allow and a very big clap and welcome for Honorable Youth MP, who is also our chief guest for this particular function. Madam Chirabo, you're welcome.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. The right Deputy Secretary General, the LOC5 Chairperson of Rengo, who is online, the Faraja African Foundation, the Action Aid, the Rose Namayanja Foundation, the WFD and other partners, the organizers of this, the youth leaders of the Central Region, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to extend my greetings to you all, and also our youths on the online, who are online watching. And my my heartfelt sympathies to those who have lost their loved ones due to COVID-19 and those that are struggling to make ends meet due to the pandemic effect. Also, allow me to take this honor, thank the organizers of this platform that they have extended to us, the youth leaders, that has brought us together, the youths of the Central Region, to discuss the important issues that affect us, and also to provide a microphone to our voices so that we can be heard. I've not introduced myself. I beg your pardon. I'm Chirabo Agnes, the youth representative for Central Region. And allow me to talk about the decent livelihood and the climate change. As you've been told that I'm a chief guest, I might not be allowed to come in the debates and participate. So the decent livelihood and climate change are sustainable development goals of the United Nations, built on principle of leaving no one behind. As we all know that a decent livelihood can mean easy access to basic life necessities. A young person must be able to afford medical care, right nutrition, education, among other basic requirements. You all know that for a long time, youths of Uganda, and Africa at large, we are known of living an indecent livelihood, with majority struggling to make ends meet for a daily survival. This situation is brought as a result of too high unemployment among the young people, which has been worsened by the troubling COVID-19 and the increasing numbers of the school dropouts. And for my sisters, the early teenage pregnancies they've experienced due to the pandemic, due to the lockdowns. Recently, I was reading in the Daily Monitor paper that in only one Luwel district hospital, not the entire district, but one hospital called Luwel Hospital, they registered about 1,400 teenage pregnancies, and it was really sad. So all that has been brought due to this lockdown by the COVID-19. Allow me to appreciate the government of Uganda for initiating programs like YLP, Emyoga, and others, and even the parish model that we are soon implementing, because I believe that it will directly contribute towards the employment of the young people. So I encourage you all and call upon you all to involve ourselves in these programs when they reach our districts or our parishes. We have all noted this common debate, because climate change has become a common debate of recent, that farmers of then were so certain and they were confident of when to plant, when to harvest their produces, and so many other activities they do. But of now, it is no longer the case. Why? Because of our human activities. We have encroached on the wetlands. We have destroyed the forests by cutting down trees for making charcoal, for energy, and many others. We've polluted our water bodies, we've polluted our air, you all know about that. So such carelessness and greed for money in the short run has led to food insecurity, has led to so many climate changes, which is leading to food insecurity, and also a direct impact, negative impact on our wildlife. According to the Uganda Bureau of Statistics, survey of 2020, it was realized that agriculture contributes 70% of employing our people of Uganda. But if we do not take in this issue, the individual responsibility of the climate change, we are risking to having a great danger in the future, which is very soon, because now is the future. The future is now. So we need to have this individual responsibility of taking care of our climate to avoid these long droughts and the food shortages that will directly affect the food sustainability and the health of humans. Ladies and gentlemen, when the person from Parliament, the parliamentary staff, was taking through what goes around in the Parliament, I heard so well, and I think he left out something that is very important. And I've heard that on Friday you'll be going to the House. And I want you, my people from the Central Region, to note something about the dress code when you go to Parliament. Because I don't want you to embarrass me. That is also some other issue. So on Friday, I want you to take note of the dress code as you head to the Parliament of Uganda. We have this book. It is called, I don't know whether it's among the things you're going to, okay. So allow me cheat for you something small to this book they unveiled to us, the members of Parliament. It is called The Rules of Procedure of the Parliament of Uganda. So Rule 82 talks of the dress code of the members of Parliament. And I believe when you step there, you will equally be members of what? Parliament. And you have to really respect this. So for male members, you can put on a suit. That is, you can put on a suit. We all know suits. Then a shirt and a tie. A pair of long trousers with a jacket meaning a coat. Then a kanzu and jacket, a safari suit, a decent traditional wear or military attire for members of armed forces. Then for female members, a suit, dress with a jacket, blouse and skirt or blouse with skirt with jacket, decent traditional wear, that is a gomesi or mushanana or anything that is traditional, or military attire for members of armed forces. So kindly note that when you're heading to Parliament on Friday. Allow me, as I don't know whether I should open the session as I was requested, or there are so many other speeches that are still going on. Should I go on? Okay. With the powers entrusted to me by the organizers, I now take the honor and officially open the second sitting of the Central Region Youth Parliament now. Thank you so much.
Another big round of applause for MP. Whatever we discuss here is important for the national fora, but very importantly, whatever we discuss is going to be loaded onto her to be able to help us advocate. So another big round of applause for Honorable Chirabo. Now we are beginning the real thing here, and I would want you to warm up. But before that, for only 2 minutes, we're going to allow our partner, Faraja, to have just a bit of an introduction to what we have here. I'm sure all of you are looking at a big banner here, so I would like her to explain a bit and talk about Faraja, and then we can proceed.
Thank you, Julius. Good morning, everybody. All protocol observed. My name is Kanyes J. Edna. I work with Faraja Africa Foundation. Please.
masks. I'm sorry, sir, in Parliament, I'm sorry. Let me put down my mask. I'm going to talk about Platform for Youth Inclusion in Politics and Emotions. We have over 20 organizations and associations under the Platform for Youth Inclusion in Politics. This was thought through by development partners like WFD and Action Aid, who WFD is Westminster Foundation for Democracy and is represented here as already introduced by Mr. Joseph Munyangabo. They thought through to set up a platform that is going to enable consolidation of resources so that we don't, and consolidation for resources in achieving youth inclusion in politics. That's why it's called Platform for Youth Inclusion in Politics. So we have, as I already told you, we have over 20 organizations. I'm going to mention some of them offhand. We have Faraja Africa Foundation, we have Rose Namayanja Foundation, we have, as I already said, Westminster Foundation, we have Action Aid International, we have Open Space Center, etc., etc. If you'd like to know more about Platform for Youth Inclusion in Politics and who is part of them, you can check out their website and their social media platform. So I'm now going to talk about the National Youth Parliament. The National Youth Parliament is a project by Faraja Africa Foundation and partners, and it's a project that gives young people a safe space to deliberate or to debate issues concerning them in a way that is similar to how our MPs deliberate. That's why later in the day you're going to hear about clerks, speakers, sergeant at arms. That's exactly what happens in Parliament, like how our Parliament people had presented. So this phase of Parliament, this is the fourth Parliament, National Youth Parliament, but the second Regional Youth Parliament. We had Regional Youth Parliaments before, and the reason why we have Regional Youth Parliament is because amidst the COVID-19 pandemic, we cannot get everybody in the chambers. Before we used to have over 500 young people from all the regions of Uganda travel from where they're coming from and enter Parliament. But now that there is a COVID and all, we decided to bring the National Youth Parliament to the young people in the regions. So we, as I speak right now, we started from Western Uganda, then we went to Rwenzori sub-region, then we went to Northern Uganda, and then we also did, I think, West Nile sub-region, Eastern Uganda, and today we are in the Central region, okay? So before we didn't have sub-regions, but the partners thought it wise to include sub-regions so that we can have more voices of the young people captured and have more, youth inclusion. So today in the Central Regional Youth Parliament, the theme is Youth at Crossroads in the Quest for Decent Livelihood amidst the threat of climate change and the COVID-19 pandemic. I don't know if we all have the order paper, but you will see that some, or if not all, the motions are in line with this theme and also address the issues that are urgent to the young people of Central Region. When you come here and you speak about West, you'll be out of question. We encourage you that as you come here and debate, you debate and represent young people of Central. On Friday, if you like chance to attend, what you do is you can speak for any region you feel like speaking for because it is a National Youth Parliament. But this one here is specifically for Central. I'd be very, in fact, very delighted if I even had some people speak in Luganda. Yeah, because I feel like it's the famous language. So, of course, we couldn't do this alone. We had partners in this particular youth parliament. I think if you see all your ordering after Honorable, today she's not here as Honorable, she's here as a partner. Yeah. Then another one is Action Aid Uganda, Faraja Africa Foundation, Center for Policy Analysis, who will later speak and give us, somebody asked about Parliament Watch. These are the brains behind Parliament Watch. So they're going to take us through the rules of procedure and even voting. And Mr. Brighton Abaho will be taking us through that. We have Advance Africa and so many other partners, and WFD, of course. So I encourage all of us to speak for our people. I heard everybody here mention I am speaking to big people. That's why I said all people, all protocol observed, because you guys are all big. I encourage you to actually speak for your people. If you're from Masaka, I encourage you to speak for the people of Masaka. Because if you don't speak, then their issues will not be even heard of or even listened to by our chief guest. Chief guest, thank you for honoring our invitation. And I promise that a resolutional paper or a positional paper that will come out of this parliament will be given to you so that you can table it in the national parliament, on the floor of Parliament of Uganda. Thank you very much, and I wish you fruitful deliberations.
Thank you, Edna. At this point, I would want to remind you that we are about to begin the real processes towards the parliament. So I'm going to invite Brighton Navajo to take it on from here in terms of procedure and the rest of the items. My name is Julius Kitara again from Rose Namayanja Foundation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Brighton Abaho. I am from the Center for Policy Analysis, or Parliament Watch. Earlier on, one of us asked about the role of Parliament Watch, and you answered. It is a parliamentary monitoring group which seeks to extend parliament to the people. And that is why we are conducting these youth parliaments. The other thing that the Parliament Watch does is it carries out analysis of the different policies. It helps to conduct consultations from the people, and these are already shared with the members of parliament. We usually intervene with the committees of parliament to share the views of the people as well. I'm going to speak about just the successes of the National Youth Parliament, which started in 2018. First of all, we all know that, if you did not know, the National Youth Parliament started in 2018, and different things have actually happened. I can say that we have had success in as far as different motions or resolutions that have been passed through. First of all, we had, in 2018, we had a resolution on the review of the education system. And the national curriculum for the national development curriculum reviewed the education system, where we have the current education system being implemented in lower secondary schools, which seeks to use just knowledge and to impart knowledge and skills to the learners. As you know, this implementation started in 2020. And I can assure you that this was as a result of the National Youth Parliament that some of the resolutions that came from there. The other thing is young people had always complained about youth participation in politics. In 2020, the Parliament of Uganda amended the Local Government Act to allow young people below the age of 30 to contest for chairperson of LC3 and seated division. And as you know, we have very many young people who have won these positions. I can tell you, when we were conducting the Regional Youth Parliament in Fort Portal, we had a young person who is 27, is a chairperson LC3. And before that time, we did not have any young person below the age of 30 as the chairperson of LC3. And we have others who have won as seated division councillors and mayors. And that is one of the things that we are standing for as the National Youth Parliament, to ensure that we have very many young people included in the decision-making of our country. The other successes, last year, we had the National Youth Parliament talk about the issue of the escalating teenage pregnancies. And as we all know, in the 10th Parliament, Honorable Jova Kamateka presented a motion for Parliament and the government, urging the government to have an action on escalating teenage pregnancies. And this was also passed by Parliament of Uganda. And this was also as a result of the National Youth Parliament. So when we come to these spaces, we do not come in these spaces to pose for pictures or to just speak. What we need to know or understand is that all our resolutions that we have from the different regions shall all be presented in a policy paper that will be presented to the decision makers, Parliament of Uganda, ministers, and all relevant authorities for us, the young people, to benefit. That is all I can say about the success of the National Youth Parliament. The part that we're going to have is now we are going to have, we're going to conduct elections for our speaker. But before I call upon the young people to nominate their candidates for the position of speaker, I am going to take this opportunity to allow the chairperson of the National Youth Council to say something to us, because as you know, we're actually very privileged to have him here, because when we talk about issues of the young people, the National Youth Council is very, very important and pertinent to this very cause. So I'm going to call upon Jacob Oyeru to come and say something before we can conduct our elections for speaker. Thank you very much.
Very good morning, everyone. My name is Jacob Oyeru, for those of you that are seeing me for the first time. Unfortunately, because of the times, you may not capture my face. But if you're on Zoom, for Friday's session, you will see my face. I want to start by welcoming the guest of honor and my good friend, the Honorable Member of Parliament representing the young people of Central Region, Honorable Chiravo Agnes. She's my good friend. I was there when we were congratulating her for winning, and I was in Luwero for the first time because of her. I want to also welcome, I don't know which title to use, but I like to call her my mother, Honorable Rosemary Namayanja. She is also the director of the Rose Namayanja Foundation. They are real friends of youth in this country. I want to welcome my other friend. You know, most of you have seen me after politics. Some people saw me before I could even afford a shoe. One of those people is Mr. Joseph Munyangabo. At the time he met me, he was working with the International Republican Institute. That was 2015. The story is about 2015. At that time, I was a student of Makerere University, and Joseph there had the faith to put me on the same panel as the only youth with the Assistant Secretary of State of the United States when he was visiting Uganda. I don't know what he was believing in, but even when I appeared, you could see that my borrowed suit, because I borrowed it from my roommate, was not up to the standard of the panel. But I want to thank him for believing in me and for seeing me up to this level. Now, I will speak more extensively tomorrow, on Friday, because I've seen that I'm on the order paper. I'll speak more extensively about the theme. Here, I'll just say a few words. My friends are in here. Almost everyone here is known to me, from those that are from Wakiso, to those from the islands of Buvuma, to those who are still students like my sister Julia, Pony, my brother Mujema, who is both a student and a member of the council, my younger brother Howard, who has declared ambitions to run, my younger sister Shubra, who is also running, learning. I really want to welcome all of you. I think that because this is not my time to speak, I'll mention one statement. This country has sung for a lot of years now the fact that we are the youngest country. Even though the statistics keep changing and people don't check, the generalization is right, that we still have a very big population of this country as young. By the time we finished the election, everyone understood the power of young people. And going forward, all political players now understand the place of young people in this country. What we are yet to witness in this country is the contribution of young people to this country's development. We know about their numbers, we know about their demands, we do not know what their contribution is. In this year, the elections that we held, and why some of us were very passionate about the choices that we were making, especially for young people, was because we understood that our country is at a time when young people must make a vivid contribution to where we are going. If we cannot see the extent of development that young people are contributing to, if we can't measure your quality in terms of contribution to what the country is interested in, like now we're talking about the parish model, we are talking about the Women Entrepreneurship Fund, we're talking about the EMOGA program. If we can't see the voice of young people in the success of those programs, then we are not receiving what this country deserves from its young people. I will end. I don't like quoting very many people, but I will say this. This I learned from Mwalimu Nyerere. He said, Tanzanians were there to develop Tanzania. Nobody would come from abroad and develop Tanzania. No program comes from abroad to develop you more than the ones you can initiate. And so as we go into this youth parliament, discussing very strategic issues of the time, the effects of the COVID pandemic and our voices on climate change, I encourage you, look at yourself as an actor in the future of this country, not as a demander, but an actor in the nature of our future. I thank you, and I look forward to those that will be with us on Friday. I thank the partners who have made this possible. Please don't give up on us, youth. We can be cantankerous, but we are your youth, as my friend always says. I thank you so much.
Thank you very much, my colleague and friend Jacob Eyeru. I am going to proceed, and you're going to conduct elections for who is going to preside over our house today. And for us to be able to have a very fruitful session, we are going to follow a few basics. I don't know how many of us have been able to follow the parliamentary proceedings, plenary in particular. So those, we are going to conduct our business here in that mode. But I'm going to give a few procedures after we have voted for our speaker, who shall thereby preside over the House. So at this point, I'm going to call upon honorable members, because as you know, when you're in the House, members must be addressed as honorable. You do not address them as guys, you do not address them as chicks, babe, no. You must address a honorable member as a honorable member, honorable so-and-so. That is one of the key things that we need to understand. And the speaker must be addressed as the right honorable speaker, without any shadow of doubt. Thank you. I'm going to call upon members to nominate. Actually, if we had, if our speaker for the previous regional youth parliament for the central region was here, he should have been the one to preside over. But in his or her absentia, I'm going to conduct that session and make sure that we have the speaker for the Central Region Youth Parliament, like we have done so in other regions of the country. So I'm going to call upon members to nominate candidates. You're going to stand up, nominate a candidate. Such a candidate must be seconded. Ballot for people attending physically, and we shall have people attending virtually vote as well. A poll is going to be run, to be displayed on your screen for those attending virtually, and all you have to do is to just click on the name of the candidate that they have nominated. Shall we nominate our candidates? Yes. You will come here for purposes of the people on online, you'll come here, nominate, get a secondment, and thereafter.
Thank you so much. I'm Ibrahim Kazibe from Wakiso District. We don't know the rules of procedures that we are going to use while voting for the member, for the speaker. Yeah, we would love to.
Thank you very much. Like I said, we are not going to use very complex rules of procedure. Why? Because if you get to that, you're going to waste time. Yet the most important thing is for us to discuss these very pertinent motions. But all we are going to do is to follow a few procedures that shall be given. Like I said, you'll nominate. After nominating, such a candidate will be seconded. After that candidate has been seconded, that candidate will be given an opportunity to come and speak to us on why he or she thinks should be the leader of the House. Is that okay? And thereafter, we are going to have pieces of paper, write the name of the person, secret ballot, and then we are going to do the counting thereafter. And then we're also going to do the counting after the virtual participants have been able to vote. Is that okay? Time for nominations then. Thank you. Your name?
I'm Ibrahim Kazibe from Wakiso District. I nominate Mujema David to be our speaker. Honorable Mujema David, I'm sorry, I'm just learning things, to be our speaker for this session. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Anyone seconding the nomination of Honorable Mujema David? Please come forward. You must put this on record that you have seconded Honorable Mujema David or any other candidate. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mrs. Mike Ngaro is my name. I'm here to second Honorable Mujema David for the Speaker of the Central Region Youth Parliament. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. A very kind reminder. If you're here attending physically, you're kindly requested to leave that Zoom meet. Yes. Why? The reason is that we do not want people to vote twice or thrice. We are aware of your antics that you intend to use, and so we are going to make sure that you do not vote twice. And the other thing is that you're interrupting the sessions, because when you're here and then you put it in loud, the people there are going to be interrupted, yet for you here enjoying it very well. Honorable Mujema David, please come forward and tell the House whether you consent to the nomination or not.
Am I supposed to, I just consent, I go, come and speak? Okay. I consent to the nomination, ladies and gentlemen. I confirm David Mujema is my name. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other nomination? And if you feel that there is need for us to close the nomination, we shall have a honorable member move a motion that the nominations be closed at an appropriate time, where you feel that the House should close the nominations. Any other nomination? Honorable Julia.
Greetings, honorable members of the August House. My name is Julia Mhumuza from Rengo District. I nominate Honorable Kasozi Shubranega for speakership of this House. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Julia Mhumuza. Anyone seconding Honorable Shubra Kasozi?
Hello, everyone in the August House. My name is Honorable Patience Ponia Ikoru.
and I'm here to second Honorable Shubra Naiga Kasozi for the position of Speaker, Central Youth Parliament. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Pony. Honorable Shubra Kasozi, can you confirm to the House that you consent to the nomination, or if you do not, kindly let the House know. Thank you.
My greetings to you, honorable ladies and gentlemen of the August House. I do confirm that my name is Naiga Shubra Kasozi. Thank you, Honorable Abaho. I am much obliged and I do consent to the nomination. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Shubra Kasozi. Any other nomination? Or if there is no any other nomination, you are required to move a motion that we close the nominations. If there isn't any other nomination. Honorable Howard.
Good morning, honorable colleagues. My name is Honorable Howard Mwesigwa, and thank you, Honorable Baho. At this juncture, I beg to move the motion that nominations be closed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any secondment for the motion?
My name is Honorable Sams Francis, and I do second the motion to close the nominations. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now that a member has moved a motion,
Good morning, honorable colleagues. My name is Rame Kamatsko. I come from Sembabule. With due respect to the organizers of this event and our honorable members and colleagues attending online, I want to move a motion to object the participation of the online members from voting, because it associates with a lot of irregularities that some of the electoral body around may notice or may not notice. And one of them has been raised around here. Some of the people here can even, you have no basement that you will prevent these people from voting twice. I beg to submit.
Thank you very much, Honorable. I would like to inform you that the technical team has all the names of the people who are attending this house. And after order in the house, after the communication that required everyone who is in attendance to leave the virtual meeting, the technical team has been availed with a list to ensure that everyone who is in attendance here is removed from the meeting. And I can assure you that the technical team, and with confirmation from Edna Kanyesije, that everyone here will not be allowed because the list has been availed. So the online or virtual honorables will be allowed to vote like it has happened in other regions. For your own information, this process has happened in the last 5 regions of the country. People are voting physically and others online. And I can assure that we have not had any issue of irregularities of who has voted or information.
Thank you so much. Honorable Siema Tukunda, I would like
Honorable Abaho, to tell us whether online participants are also participants from Central Region, or else they are also they are participants from other regions, because we need clarification on whether they are also Central participants. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The organizers of the event were privileged to ensure, and from the coordinators of the Central Region Youth Parliament, in specific the Rose Namanja Foundation, the link for this particular session was only limited to the people in the Central Region. Anyway, without wasting any time, yes, everyone is going to be given an opportunity to speak, where it is, where it makes sense or not. Inquiry or information, it must be information or order or procedure. It is not like a debate.
Thank you so much. Sisi Mike Mgarura is my name. I would like to inquire from you, Honorable Abao, whether we are just here doing things in line of our country, because it is not in our country, or this is like Parliament. Have we ever had online voting in Parliament or in Uganda? Can you tell me, please?
Thank you very much. It's true that our country, or the Parliament of Uganda, has not been able to conduct elections virtually. But due to the current COVID-19 pandemic, the regional youth parliaments, because we could not gather more than, actually was supposed to be 20 people, but because we could not gather very many people in one place, we decided to adopt virtual voting for purposes of inclusion, for people who are attending from their homes, from their offices, such that they can be able to have a voice. That is the sole reason as to why we are having people voting virtually. Is that okay? Because the moment we come here and we start saying virtual, yes, it's true we have not had it in Uganda. But the moment we do not start these, for example, people are complaining about online learning. Had we had online learning before? No. But right about now, we have swing us to actually adopt this. I can actually, Honorable Agnes Kirabo can actually tell you that honorable members of Parliament as of now are allowed to attend sessions virtually. And when they're attending virtually, they're allowed to vote on a motion, they're allowed to debate on a motion. So, we would, honorable members, would you like us to waste our time in voting rather than the debates? Would you rather us spend the whole day talking about virtual voting, whether it is applicable or not, than the motions that we have on paper? Honorable? Thank you. Yes. Thank you very much. The list of participants is actually with the coordinator of the Central Region Youth Parliament. And this link for this particular session was shared from those participants. Because as you know, we have very many young people to participate, who would like to participate in such sessions. We have thousands and thousands who would like to participate. But we had to restrict this to only 120 attending virtually. If you're now for you attending physically and virtually, yet you're here complaining. So if you can check the online people attending virtually, then they do not exceed 120. If they exceed, the other people that are there are the technical people who are trying to make sure that everyone Thank you. Is that okay? Thank you very much. No, you come and talk to me. We are not going.
To our dear Honorable Youth Member of Parliament, to our dear Honorable Rosna Mayanja, to the Chairperson National Youth Council, to our Honorables present today, and to the Honorables joining us from online, good morning. Is it still good morning? Yes. So sorry for coming in briefly. My name is Maganda Patricia Gift, and I am here. I'm the Programs Manager for Faraja Africa Foundation, one of the partners under the Platform for Youth Inclusion, who are ensuring that we have this today in conjunction with Rosna Mayanja. So I'm just here to request us to kindly understand that due to COVID-19, like my colleague has explained, we have to capture the youth voices of every young person in the central region. However, today why we are seated in this room is because we want to ensure that we have the SOPs of COVID being observed and we cannot gather more than 20 participants in the room. We understand. So that people online who are joining in from the different regions are not reading votes, are not doing anything. And as they are voting, they're going to be displaying the voting. You'll be seeing the polls running, yeah? So there is nothing like cheating going to happen. The entrance is blocked. We have the list of participants in here, and those who are already attending online and are in here have all been exited, yeah? Are we together? So there's nothing like rigging, and we cannot let the online team not vote because that will be stepping on their rights. Yet they're also young people of the central region. You understand? So I'm requesting that we harmonize and cooperate due to the interest of time because we have to debate the motions and ensure that the issues of the young people in the central region are represented at the National Youth Parliament. Are we together? Have a good and safe deliberation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Like Edna has actually noted, the link has been locked. And when the link is locked, it means that no any other person can still join the meeting. Yes, and since it is already locked, so like Patricia has requested, I am going to reiterate this. We are requesting, since we have already set precedent in other regions that people can vote virtually, it is going to be very, very, very unfair to the rights of the many who are attending virtually, yet other people from other regions have already voted virtually. Is that okay? So my colleague Patricia is going to share with us pieces of paper. You're going to write the names of the people that have been nominated. But before that, you're going to request the two candidates who have been nominated, Honorable Mugema David and Honorable Shubra Kasozi, to come here and tell us why they would like to be voted to preside over the House. Like you see, you'll be following that every other thing that is conducted virtually, the poll is there Whoever votes, their vote will be taken care of. Honorable Shubra Kasozi, may you kindly come and tell the House why they should entrust you with their votes. Thank you. For the nominated candidates, they only have 2 to 3 minutes to tell us why they should be voted. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Abaho. I do not know if it's in order for my speech to be projected such that my people online can view it. Is it in order? If it is, I request that it's projected kindly. Yes, thank you. I was talking about the written speech, but if it's not possible, I can proceed. Yes. So not to waste any more of your time, honorable ladies and gentlemen of the August House, my name is Naiga Shubra Kasozi. I am unapologetically 22 years old. I'm a youth. I'm the director of the Rose Namanja Foundation, Faraja Africa Foundation, Westminster Foundation, the partners of this event, our chief guest, Honorable Agnes Chirabo, LC Chairman Luengo. I am very obliged to be standing before you today to be giving my speech and also rendering myself as a vessel for leadership. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as far back as I remember, or as any individual in this particular room can remember, our generation was raised on a mantra, a promise that we are the leaders of tomorrow. I started hearing this particular statement when I was about 8 years old. Today I'm 22 years old, and I thank God because I've been empowered by men and women, giants in this room and outside this room. Being told that we are the leaders of tomorrow, and to many of us, it was just a statement said by our elders. To me and the people listening in this room, as well as the people attending over Zoom, it was a statement of faith from experienced men and women inviting us into the places in which they have proved themselves to different measures. The idea that we are the leaders of tomorrow was an invitation to the rest of us. By that time, I could have been 10 years old or 8 years old, but this has been an invitation, and I am obliged to receive this invitation into leadership. While our reality of leadership has been lacking before in the willingness to embrace the said leaders of tomorrow, which is today, I can confidently say that this is a generation that has taken its opportunities in the places we could speak and do to effect the change we saw as befitting for these spaces. We have seen that traditional thresholds of making impact at 30 crumble. One of the reasons as to why I've started by saying that I am unapologetically 22 years old is because it's not a sin for me to be an empowered young woman. It's not a sin for me to rise into leadership spaces at a young age, because what ensues in this nation affects me directly and indirectly. I'm also not apologetic to have been listed as a top 40 woman under 40 years old, having beaten 40-year-old people in this nation. I am not sorry to say that. Many attacks have been coming from all sides, all directions, to the effect that I'm too young to be a speaker of a parliament. I beg to differ and digress, ladies and gentlemen. For many of us who are in this room, we have heed the call of leadership. Since we were young people, many of us have introduced ourselves in different potentials and capacities as leaders in this place. And I believe that all of you listening to me over Zoom and in this room understand that the mantle does not go to 30-year-olds or 40-year-olds. It goes to yielded vessels. I like the man of God called David in the Bible. When David saw the Goliath, the huge man, he asked the question, who is this Philistine who dares rise against the army of the living God? That's the question I have for the people who call themselves the so-called elders in this nation. Ladies and gentlemen, what I seek to establish with this litany of achievement is the potential that lies within each one of us and the evidence that the world around us recognizes. I
have many achievements as a 22-year-old young woman. But to be here to tell you about my achievements as an individual would be lying to you because I'm here to be a leader. I have many potentials. I'm an author of a debate book. As such, I can actually debate a motion. But I'm here as a leader, one that can exercise control as well as order over a whole parliamentary session. That is what I seek today, ladies and gentlemen. Here today, we must ask ourselves not whether the world is ready for the voices of the youth, organized not to throw stones at their frustrations, but prepared and unified in an agenda towards community transformation, led and championed by the youth, but set ourselves on a course into purpose and results that leaves no doubt as to the answers to the questions about our ability. Here today, we speak not of ourselves and to each other, but of the needs of the Central Region youth, to the powers that be vested in us. Ladies and gentlemen, I have hailed in the Central for as long as I can remember, born in the Central from Wakiso district, born in Mengo Hospital. And there are so many issues that plague us as young people. The question of whether we can do it all can be answered in the negative, but also to some extent it can be answered in the affirmative. The question is, are you going to blame Shubra when the earthquake rises in the night? Are you going to blame Shubra when teenage pregnancies are all over the place and women die because of high mortality rates in a nation that is supposed to have a budget for health? I would answer that in the negative and also affirm that the question should go to yourself as to whether you did something to be able to propound anything to the direction of positive change. As a yielded vessel, I come up to just be able to lead people into discussions, into discourse that can yield better results. Leadership starts with individuals, but its effectiveness is meted by its proliferation unto the people that are led. As your elected speaker today, let me conclude. As your elected speaker today, that will be the measure by which you'll be able to measure the effectiveness of my performance as the leader of the House. Through my leadership experience, I believe that each one of you will be able to leave this room with your voices amplified with mine and the needs of the communities you represent duly heard. I will conclusively put to you measurable goals that I will be able to deliver as a leader of the House, should you choose to trust me with a mandate. I will champion the views adopted and proposals. I will lobby and advocate for inclusive youth agenda, work closely with the civil society and key sponsors of the Youth Parliament to ensure that we can have more youth engaged in empowerment forums. I pledge to support young people and mentor them in the art of debate, as I'm a debater myself and an author of a book on the same. I pledge, with assistance of civil society organizations in the youth space, to forward and drum up support for the youth inclusive programs to be scaled up in our regions. Lastly, my leadership journey is authenticated by the delivery of results over and above every expectation and milestone reached before, and I will deliver above those very achievements because it's a principle I live by for God and my country. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Shubra Kasozi. I would like to take this opportunity to call upon Honorable Mugema David to tell the House why the House should entrust him with their votes to preside over the House. Thank you. You only have 3 minutes.
Plus one. That's unfair. My counterpart didn't have 3 minutes. For people to vote physically, yet the list were given from the start. It included only 20 physical voters. Am I right? As of now, there are 30 people. We've not interacted with them. We've not asked for the votes, but I asked for their votes right now. My name is David Mujema. I hail from Chabakuza. That's Chimanya Kabonera, Masaka City. I represent Masaka City at the National Youth Council as a finance secretary. I'm here to stand before you to ask for the mandate to be your speaker on the very issues we are going to discuss today. All protocol observed. I really want to appreciate Director, Right Honorable Secretary General of the ruling party, Honorable Chirabo, my Central Youth MP, Honorable Chitata, ladies and gentlemen, both physically and online, not forgetting the partners that are funding us. Let's go to the real issues. The COVID. I happen to be a student, and I'm a student, a 50th year finalist. If there is a person who has the audacity to speak about what's happening today, as in regards to how much COVID has affected us, I'm in the right position. I would be a graduate by now treating people somewhere in a referral hospital, treating my people in the community, probably in Masaka or all over the country. However, since COVID-19 came through, we haven't been able to finish school. You can imagine the loss the country is facing right now because of so many of us who have not been able to go to school because of what is happening apparently. Fortunately enough, I was part of those students, leaders who wrote to the President of Uganda, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, and we asked him, we told him, Your Excellency, COVID is war. We are in a crisis. Medics are soldiers. Imagine consultants and professors wherever we serve in regional referral hospitals get fatigued. Do you have any backup plan? And the President allowed us to go to school. We told the President, now that we have the vaccines and now that we have the capacity, we've at least known how to deal with the situation at hand. Can you please allow the children to go back to school? I saw the statement from the Honorable Minister for Education, the First Lady, and she asked us to pray to God and be patient with the situation. However, we want to ask the Honorable Minister to reconsider that decision. Uganda is among a few countries today who are not sending their children to school. For example, students are crossing from Uganda to Kenya through the Uganda-Kenyan border, going for education, and Ugandan children are not studying. Members, imagine what we are going through as a country and the impact it's going to cause. Everyone has mentioned about teenage pregnancies. Our sisters are out there getting pregnant, they are not in school. Imagine substance abuse. I went back to the hospital and I'm attached to Kampala International University Referral Hospital. I've been sent to Jinja 2 weeks from now. But I've been rotating in psychiatric wing where I realized that a lot of youths of our age are coming with issues to do with substance abuse. And you know the root cause of that? We as a country haven't really done well in catching up to speed with the COVID situation at hand. Schools are being affected, 15 million Ugandans. You can imagine the gap it is leaving out. No child is going to touch money of our age will ever go back to school because they're going to find it profitable. But that's not sustainable. As a country, you need to prepare these people for good education so that you can have a good future. Speak about entrepreneurship. It is hurtful that the youthful generation of our time, we cannot even explore the chance there is that we are living in an information era. For example, 12% tax levied on the small enterprises of the young people. This is unfair, and these are the voices right now we have to stand and tell the young people to stand up and speak. And whenever we are given this mandate to speak for them, we want to remind the government that you cannot tell people to go home and they study online or to explore the internet as you are levying a heavy tax on them. Ladies and gentlemen, Africa has 4 problems as I wind up. Look at the wars, look at illiteracy, look at diseases, look at corruption. But His Excellency Harry Truman of the United States said that the buck stops at me. If you are speaking about corruption, these are issues that root directly from where we come from in Central. In Masaka, if you look at wars, everywhere there is war. Today we have Vijambia, they are cutting up people, they are killing up people. I cannot leave this stage minus mentioning that. Look at the illiteracy levels. So whenever we're presented with such an opportunity to come and stand before you, we have to discuss real issues. I speak on behalf of these youths. I stay with these youths. I subscribe, and I'm the coordinator of an NGO called Literacy of Life in Kalagalampiji. We take children off streets and take them to school. Right now, they are down. Funders are withdrawing. NGOs are closed. Ladies and gentlemen, if you speak about health of the people, I operate on people as a medical student who is going to graduate soon because we get attached from 3rd year and we start real clinical practice. I operate on these people. I deal with them on a daily in their lives. If there's a person who has capacity to speak to people about their challenges, especially the young people, I am the right person. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask for the mandate to be a speaker today. I'm not going to put down my voice. I'm going to raise this voice even when it is shaking. We are going to speak truth to authority, and we believe if we come together as young people of Uganda, we are going to cause tremendous change. Thank you so much. God bless you. For God and my country.
Thank you very much, Honorable David Mugema and Honorable Shubra Kasozi. The 2 of you have actually passionately I don't know what to say. But thank you very much. The session that we're going to have right about now is, I am sure every one of us who is eligible to vote has received a ballot paper, which has a distinct mark from the other pieces of paper in your books. So we shouldn't have any issues of, you see this piece of paper, if we happen to get a piece of paper that does not have that distinct mark, then such a vote will be very invalid. And furthermore, we shall not dwell more on the spelling of the name, but so long as it resonates with for the online voters, a poll shall be or is being displayed on your screen. There are the nominated candidates are 2. You'll be required to just click on the name of the candidate that you would like to preside over this house. My colleagues are going to move around, pick our ballot papers. Thereafter, the 2 candidates shall nominate one agent each, who shall be there to verify what has happened here, and shall also nominate one to monitor what is happening online. Because good enough we have it is being projected on the screen, you should be able to follow what is going on. Yeah, thank you very much. We must observe order in the House. And I would like to ask every one of us to make sure that we restrict our movements in the House, because the time for campaigns has been closed. The only opportunity that you had was to as you see, our box is very, very empty. Thank you very much. We have 3 officials. We have 5. The 3 of us shall be conducting it physically, and we have Edna and Alvin, who are responsible for the virtual attendees. My colleague is going to move around, pick those votes, and then we shall bring here, the 2 nominated agents shall come here, and then we shall have the counting of that. No, I have already informed them that there is a distinct Honorable Shubra and Honorable David Mugema, you should be able to nominate your agents who shall, after voting, they should be able to come here. This place is very political. as we are all aware, we only have 30 physical people who are eligible to vote. 30. Okay, I would like to have your agents for purposes of time. Honorable David Mugema, can I have your agent? Honorable Shubra Kasozi, can I have your agent? To witness, Honorable Julia Mhumza, the agent for Honorable Shubra Kasozi. Honorable and then you should be able to have someone who is monitoring what is, you should also have an agent who is monitoring what is happening online. They can be able to actually view it from the comfort of their seats. Honorable David Mugema, I'm waiting for your agent to appear. Okay, thank you very much. The agents for our two candidates are here, and I'm sure the agents for the online are also here. What you're going to do is I'll be picking a ballot paper that has been cast, read to the House or show to the House whom has been voted, whoever candidate has been voted for, and I'll be handing over the ones for Kasozi Shubra to Honorable Julia, and the votes cast for Honorable David Mugema to I'm sure everyone is following. We do not want issues of, you see, Honorable David Mugema, Honorable Shubra Kasozi, Honorable David Mugema, Honorable David Mugema, Honorable David Mugema, Honorable Shubra Naiga Kasozi, Honorable Dr. David Mugema,